Here are two circuit boards, the same size, the same relay, and the same Swirl logo chip in the same corner here. Or at least what it looks like, the same chip. And one of them is Shelly Mini Gen3, and the other one is the brand new Gen4. And if you put them in front of 99% of people, they could not tell you which one is which. And there is one difference between these two boards. It's a single chip, a few millimeters square here. And it is the entire reason Shelly bothered making a Gen4 at all. So today we are opening both of them, going component by component, and figuring out the only question that actually matters. Is the Gen4 worth your money, or is the Gen3 smarter buy while it's cheap? Let's get into it. So, a quick ground rules, so this makes sense to everyone. The Shelly Mini is, and Shelly's own word, the smallest smart relay in the world. It's a Wi-Fi switch tiny enough to hide inside a wall box, behind an existing light switch, or even inside the appliance itself. You wire your live and neutral in, like here. It switches a load on and off, and you control it from your phone or your smart home system, and there is no hub required for this device. And the one min is one channel, and the mini means the shrunk down version. And crucially, the plain 1 mini has no power metering. If you want to measure watts, that's the 1PM mini, the different device. Today we are comparing the plain 1 mini Gen3 versus Gen4 here. And both units are already open. Let's start with what's identical, because honestly that's most of it here. So the size, physically, they're twins. Both are roughly 29 by 34 millimeters, about 16 millimeters thick, and both fit in the same impossible little spaces. If you have wired a Gen3 into a junction box, the Gen4 drops into the exact same hole. And the one that give away the case closed is the terminal block. So Gen3 uses a black plastic housing, and the Gen4 switches to a white or light gray one. So that's it. That's the whole external difference. It's cosmetic. The same 5 screw terminals, the same job. But if someone hands you one blind, the color tells you the generation before you even open it. So the black is Gen3 and the white or gray is Gen4. And let's see, look at this. This big black box here is the relay. And that's the part that actually does the switching. It's the muscle. And one on both generations, this is actually the same part. Hongfa HF32FA-G. And here's the detail your electrician brain will like. The data sheet for rates for this relay for 10 amps and at 240 volts AC, and it's rated for around 1 million mechanical operations. So this means a lot, but Shelly rates this device at 8 amps, not 10. So why is that? Why throttle it? The headroom. That gap between the relay's 10 amp capability and the device's 8 amp rating is safety margin. It keeps the contacts from welding under inrush and heat, especially crammed inside a sealed wall box with basically no airflow. It's a conservative call, but it's the right one. The same relay, the same rating, and the same 8 amps on both generations. Dry contacts, normally open, one channel, nothing changed here, and nothing needed to. So now the power supply, the part that takes your mains voltage and turns it into a few quiet volts the electronics need to think. And here's the headline for this whole section. On Gen3 and the Gen4, this is effectively the same power board, the same transformer, the same capacitors, the same relay, and same protection parts. So rather than hunt for a difference that is not here, let me just show you what's actually on it. Because there are two parts people always ask about. Okay, let's see first this blue disc down here. That is varistor, and its job is the soak up surge and voltage spikes coming in of your mains before they reach anything delicate. On the top side, there's a footprint marked VR1 here. And that looks empty actually, and that trips people up. It's not missing. The part just lives on the underside. So if you ever have one of these open and think Shelly skimped on surge protection, they didn't. You're looking at the wrong side of the board. And now, second thing, this little beige blob right next to it. Let me show you on this one. Yep. This is actually not a resistor, but most people think because it looks like a bit like resistor, but this one got an 1A printed on it, and this is not resistor. It's safety rated capacitor, a main filter cap. That 1A is a class code, not 1 amp. Capacitors are not rated in amps, which is exactly how you know. Its job is killing electrical noise on the incoming mains, so the switching supply does not dump interference back onto your wiring. You'll spot the little safety certification marks them right on here. Here. Okay, now let's see our rectifier diode, but I'm gonna do something here. I'm gonna switch to the screen, because most of you last time when I did this kind of review and comparison said that it would be better to print out this board and zoom in to show you what's on it. But I did something different, and I believe this will also be maybe a better option than printing and showing the details like that. So let's see. Here I'm just doing this. So yeah. The power section is the same across both generations here. So it's generally tidy little main supply. So I'm not going to sell you a performance difference here, but because there is not one. The same input range, the same 8 amp load, and the same protection. So which means every real difference between these two devices has to live in somewhere else. So actually on the other side of the board. And it does exactly one part. So moving on the parts that does matter here. This chip on the black square here. Yeah, see it here, and we have it here. Okay. On both boards, it sits in the same spot, and at glance, it looks identical, but it is not. Actually, on the Gen 3, this is an ESP Shelly C38F, and that's the one here, and is ESPHome ESP32. So ESP32. You cannot see it here because even when I zoom in on the chip itself, it's barely visible. So that's the one thing here, but it is ESP32 chip here. And on the Gen 4, you can actually read it here because it's more visible. So it is C68F, and it is also ESPHome ESP32C6. So now quick myth bust, because you'll see this said wrong all over the internet. People claim that Gen 4 is where Shelly switched to custom silicon, and that's not true. Both of these are custom flash Shelly variants, and the Gen 3 was already a custom part. So that's not the story. The story is C3 versus C6, and to see why that's a big deal, you have to look at what radios are baked into each one. So the ESP32C3 in the Gen 3 is a single core RISC-V processor. So with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, a low energy, and that's it. 2 radios. And it's great, a little chip, but it's why the Gen 3 does Wi-Fi control and Bluetooth setup and can act as a Bluetooth gateway here. So this is the chip that is responsible for that. But here in the ESP32C6 here, we have in the Gen 4, it keeps the Wi-Fi, but a newer Wi-Fi 6 actually, and it keeps Bluetooth, and then adds a third radio, and 802.15.4 radio. So what is that? And that third radio is the whole ball game here. So what is that? That is let me tell you in a play version. It's a low power radio standard that two big smart home technologies are built in. So on Zigbee and Thread, which is the backbone of Mother over Thread. So that's the Gen 3 with just Wi-Fi and Bluetooth physically cannot speak those, and amount of firmware fixes it. The radio is not there. Then Gen 4 has the radio, which means one little 8 amp relay can in principle join a Zigbee network or a Thread network instead of leaning on your Wi-Fi. That is huge. So now here's what I have to be precise, because half of the videos on this topic overpromise. As of right now, Shelly stock firmware uses that radio for Zigbee, so out of the box. Yeah, you can actually use Zigbee right now out of the box, and you have a Matter certification here. But Gen 4 actually gives you a Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and Zigbee today, and a radio that's also built for Thread and Matter tomorrow. So that's the future proofing you can actually hold in your hand here at the moment. So let's see some other things here. What you actually do with these, because a lot carries over. Both generations use Wi-Fi control with no hub, Bluetooth for quick setup, and both can act as a Bluetooth gateway for Shelly sensor range. Both can work as a Wi-Fi range extender. Both give you local control, scheduling the HTTP and MQTT interfaces, scripting on the device, and full home assistant support. And both carry 8 megabytes of flash, which is double the old Gen 2 minis, and plenty of room for that scripting. So if you're pure Wi-Fi household and you're never touching Zigbee or Thread, that means that generally the Gen 3 does everything the Gen 4 does for your use case. And that's not me talking you out of the new one. So that's me being honest about where the line is. So as this one, the Gen 3, can do the same for you. So the Gen 4 is entire advantages that extra radio. If that radio is meaningless to you, the generations are functionally twins. For the flashers, this is interesting. Quick note also for thinkers. Then we'll end the plane. Both of these are flashable with the custom firmware, ESPHome, Tasmota, the usual, but the target changed with the chip. So the Gen 3, being an ESP32C3, flashes as a C3 target, and the Gen 4 being ESP32C6 is a C6 target, the newer one, and the tooling and templates for it are still maturing. So one hands up on the Mini specifically. The flashing pads are tiny, and over-the-air custom flashing is not the easy path once it was. So if buying one of these specifically to flash it is your plan, factor in some fiddly soldering, and know the C6 ecosystem is younger than the very well trodden C3. So, and to be clear, flashing third-party firmware avoids your warranty, and you're on your own for support. So worth it for some of you, not for most, and just keep what you are signing up for. And so money. And this is where it gets interesting, because the price gap is bigger than you'd think for two devices this similar. So ballpark, and this moves around by region and by sale. The Gen 3 Mini runs about $15, and Gen 4 Mini runs about $22. So you're looking at roughly a $7 difference here. Now, $7 doesn't sound like much in insulation, but on a $15 device, that's close to a 50% more. So this is not a just round up to the newer one. Situation is this. It's a real decision actually. So let's make it a clear one. Okay, so the buy Gen 4 if you want the device to still make sense years from now, or if you already run or plan to run a Zigbee or a Thread mother setup. That extra radio is the entire premium you're paying here with this processor. And if you're going to use it, it's worth every cent of that $7. Future proofing you can actually wire into the wall. For anyone building a smart home that's still evolving, that's the safe pick. But buy Gen 3 if you're pure Wi-Fi setup, and you know it, especially if you're buying in bulk. That $7 gap is per unit. 10 relays for Wi-Fi only automations, and you've saved $70 for a radio you are never going to switch on. So the Gen 3 is not the old one you settle for. It's the same relay and the same size and the same 8 amps, the same power board. You're just not paying for a wireless mode you won't use. So flip the usual logic. The question isn't why wouldn't I get the newer one? At 50% premium, the question is, are you going to use that third radio? Yes, Gen 4, no contests. Or no, or not sure, Gen 3 saves you real money and gives you up nothing you'll actually miss. Okay, and that's the whole story for these two. They look identical because they basically are. The same body, same muscle, same brain family. The Gen 4 just gave that brain an extra sense the Gen 3 was born without. And if this teardown saved you from an overbuy or an underbuy, do the thing that helps the channel. Like it and subscribe, because we open up this stuff so you don't have to. I read every comment, so if you have flashed a Gen 4 to Thread already, or you've got a use case I didn't cover, tell me down below. I want to hear you. Keep your home smart and see you in the next one. Bye.